It's a brand new year. You have 47 things on your to-do list. 12 of them are marked urgent and goals that you need to prioritize. And you're paralyzed. You're staring at your screen, unable to start anything. So today we're going to address the priority paralysis. Let's get into it.
Taking creatives from chaos to clarity.
Welcome back to Creativity Made Easy. This is the podcast where we transform creative chaos into clarity. This is a podcast for all creatives, designers, photographers, writers, all creative entrepreneurs or agency owners seeking actionable strategies to grow their creative business through efficiency. That's right, we're talking about processes and systems. I'm your host, Dustin Peed, creative process consultant, and I help creatives and agencies know themselves, their processes, and their teams to create with efficiency as they scale together. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and an amazing transition into the new year. Hope you got everything that you asked for on your Christmas wish list, but it is a new year. We are back with the Creativity Made Easy podcast, and it's a whole new opportunity that's in front of us. And so when a whole new opportunity gets put in front of us, oftentimes we get paralyzed. But for Christmas, I received in my read category. If you don't know this, I maybe have talked about it before, but either on the blog or on this podcast. But in our immediate family, we give 4 categories of gifts. So everybody gets 4 gifts, right? Something you want, something you need, something to wear, and something to read. And my something to read this year from my wife was a new bit of a memoir from Sally Mann. Now, if you don't know Sally Mann, she is a world-renowned photographer who hails from my home state of Virginia. And the book is called Artwork, which already got me on the title, right? But it's her memoir on the creative life. It's just an incredible book. It's incredibly honest, raw look at the struggle of an artist's life. But I love this, and I wanted to read this to you because I think it sets the tone for the topic today. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to be giving away a free copy of this book. So stay tuned to the end. Whether you're watching or listening, stay tuned to the end to find out how to get your copy of this book. Absolutely free, sent from me. All right, Sally says this on page 97 if you actually buy the hardback copy or you win the copy from me. She says, the measure of artistic success is not money, it's time. And you must relegate it like the metronomic steps of the most unflappable beef eater on parade. She's got quite a vocabulary. Let people make fun of my daytimer, clutched to my breast like a rosary. But knowing what I have to do every hour of every day and every week of every month is what allows me to schedule, yes, schedule creativity. That's a lot of what we talk about on the show. It's pretty much the whole show. It doesn't drift down and lightly settle upon us like a gauzy visitation from the muse. You have to clear a well-lit and GPS coordinated landing strip for it, meaning for creativity. And that's what I want to talk about today. That's what I want to talk about this year. That's what I want to talk about each and every week on this podcast episode is the strategy of your creativity. Like it doesn't just happen, like it takes work to go towards it. And so when we talk about today specifically is this priority paralysis, right? We entered the new year, we have all these things, we have all these ambitions, we have all these goals. We also have some projects that were still lingering maybe from the end of last year that we still have to kind of finish to completion, or we have clients who have rested over a couple of weeks and now they've come back with all sorts of new amazing ideas that they want your help executing, which is a great problem to have, but it can get really overwhelming really quick, right? You might be a creative or an agency owner who's working like 60 plus hours a week and everything feels urgent and you can't distinguish from strategic or tactical, and the result ends up being that you're just spinning wheels, right? It's just busy work. You're not really moving forward, but your breakthrough moment is going to be realizing that the problem isn't time management like we read about. It's actually priority management. So it's a little bit even more micro into the big category of time. And let's talk about the root cause of this priority paralysis, right? It's again, it's not a time problem. This is a clarity problem, all right? And there's three types of confusion that I want to address specifically that cause this type of paralysis. The first one is strategic versus tactical blur, right? So, is this something that's going to move the business forward, or is it just keeping the plates spinning? Is it strategic or is it tactical? That's one point of confusion that you need to clear up. The other one is this task or project or priority, is it mine or is it theirs, right? It's a mine versus their confusion. Should I be doing this or should someone else be doing this? Should I be delegating this? Is this really what my business does? Is this really what our department does? Is this really what I bring to the table? The other one is it now versus later? This is the timing confusion, right? Is this actually urgent or is it just the loudest thing right now? We've all been in a meeting where the loudest person who talks the most gets to dominate the conversation and no one else gets any input. And so you leave and you start moving towards whatever the loudest person talked about because they talked about the most and they hogged up all the time, right? That's not necessarily the most urgent, it's just the loudest, right? 58% of agency owners cite that revenue is their top concern. Trust me, I talk to agency owners all the time, every single week, and they're always talking about revenue, revenue, revenue. But listen, most agency owners and most creative business owners they're working on urgent items, not important items, right? They're just spinning the wheel. They're not necessarily working on the strategic, they're working on the tactical. They're not necessarily working on what they should be working on, they're working on what someone else should be working on. And they're not necessarily working on what's actually the most urgent. They're actually just working on what's the most loud. So let's get into one of the main tools that I use for myself and our clients to help them understand what is the most important thing for them to work on. We at Chief Creative Consultants combine two tools and merge it into what we call our priority framework, which you can get for free at dustinp.com/free. Look for the giant button that says priority framework. But the priority framework is a combination of two tools. It's the focus funnel and it's the Eisenhower matrix. And I want to talk specifically today about the focus funnel. You can read more about the Eisenhower matrix on previous blog posts or even podcast episodes. If you just search my name and Eisenhower matrix, if you just Google that, you're going to find all sorts of stuff out there. But what I do here is I start with the focus funnel. The focus funnel is this, is to ask yourself, every task that you have, everything that's on your plate right now, there's 47 things, the goals, the urgents, the things that are popping up already into the new year. You're going to put all those things through this imaginary funnel. If you need to kind of write it out and draw and move it through the funnel, you can. I've certainly done that before. But you're going to ask yourself this: can this, number one, can this be eliminated? Can this be eliminated? Does this really actually need to happen? Or is it just busy work, just spinning the tires, right? We don't even need it. Why is this even here? Coming off of a break, like many of you have, is a great time to look at it and go, what do we need this for? And we talked about at the end of the year kind of cleaning up some of that stuff, but there still might be some residue of that coming into the new year. So, can you eliminate it? If you can't eliminate it, then it moves down to the next section of the funnel, which is automate it. Is this something that we can automate? There's so many processes and system softwares out there, AI, all these different things that technology is endless these days. That we can take something that we think we needed to do ourselves or our team needed to do themselves and we can automate it. So, can you automate it? Now, if you can't automate it, then you move on to the next section. Can I delegate this? Is it actually me, right? Is it mine or is it theirs? Should I be doing this? Or should I be delegating it? Is this really what I need to be spending my time on? And if it passes that and it's like, okay, I can't eliminate it, I can't automate it, I can't delegate it, it has to be me that does this, then you ask the time, is it now or is it later, right? Because you can procrastinate. You can procrastinate. It's okay, right? The liberation of not now, right? It doesn't mean never. It just means not right now. It means that you can schedule it for later, right? Just like Sally Mann said in the book, from the quote that I read earlier this morning, you can schedule that creativity. So that's the focus funnel. Now, something else I want to talk about that we're going to be talking about a lot this year is capacity. Now, I want you to think about when you're going through this focus funnel, and especially when you get into the delegate thing, portion of the focus funnel, I want you to ask yourself, like, is this something that you can actually, or your team can actually take on? Do you have the capacity, right? Because priority paralysis happens because we say yes without checking ours or our team's capacity. And now we have too much on our plate and we have to decide what to do with it, right? So, a little bit of a preview of capacity planning work, right? You can't prioritize it without knowing your actual capacity, right? It's a dangerous question. Can I fit this in, right? The right question is, does this replace something else? And if so, is that something else actually more important, right? That'll help you understand the priority in that capacity, right? But we have a framework that I'm working on right now. It's going to be coming later on this quarter, the capacity planning framework. Stay tuned for that. But essentially, I need you to always understand that whatever your capacity is, you need to add about a 20% or subtract about a 20% margin in that, right? So if your capacity is, let's say the standard capacity is, if we're talking time capacity, right? Standard capacity might be 40 hours a week. We're going to take 20% less than that, and we're going to say it's 32 hours, not 40 hours, right? We're going to say it's 32 hours, not 40 hours, because that would be 20% less than that, right? So, but in order to actually know that, you need to start tracking your time on these tasks. How long does it take you to strategize for a campaign? How long does it take you to write copy? How long does it take you to edit and post production? How long does it take you to pack up and tear down all your gear that you have to take to many different shoots? How long does it take you to concept different logo designs? Understanding, not just guessing, but actually understanding that fact will help you every single time. So, in our what now, I want to break it down like this for us this week. I want to talk about what to do today, what to do this week, what to do this month, and what you need to be kind of doing ongoing, and then maybe like a next level portion as well. So let's wrap it up this way. All right. So today, I want you to just do an item purge, or what I like to call a brain dump, right? Open up your task list right now, run everything through the focus filter. Be ruthless, right? Eliminate, delegate, automate, defer it till later, procrastinate, be ruthless about it, right? And at the end of that focus funnel, I like to say this all the time, when you get to the end of the focus funnel, what actually ends up landing on your plate to do right now should be about 20% of what you started with. So let's say you started with 10 items at the top of the focus funnel. By the time you get down to the focus funnel and it's truly what you need to be doing now, should really only be about two of those items, not all 10, or not three, four, five, six. It should really, if you're doing it right, you should really only have about 20%. So do that today. This week, I want you to, in the next 7 days, I want you to have a priority session for your weeks, whether it be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it takes. You can do Sunday night, you can do Monday mornings. I myself do Sunday night so that I'm ready to hit the ground running on Monday mornings. Or if you're an early riser, you can get up early Monday morning and do this. And what you're going to do is you're going to identify your top three strategic priorities for the week. And everything else is either going to support those big three, or they're gonna wait, right? They're gonna have to wait. And so in that big three this month, remember that big three rule, right? No more than three major priorities active at once, right? And if those three things happen to take all month, then those three things stay there. If one takes a month, one takes 2 weeks, and one takes 1 week, then things are gonna move in and out, but we're not gonna continue to add and add and add. That's where priority paralysis happens every single time. And if you need help, you can go to dustinp.com/free and download the do versus do framework to help you work backwards and planning out your real deadlines. All right, ongoing, we're going to start working on this capacity check, right? We're going to start asking ourselves and finding out truly, not just feeling, I feel like it takes, what is your actual current capacity? You're going to start tracking your hours available versus your hours committed, and you're going to see those times in real time data. And then you're going to build in 20% buffer for the unexpected. That's how we schedule our creativity. We're not going to live completely depleted at all times and maxed out. We're always going to allow ourselves for a buffer, whether we need it or we think we need it or not, because what's going to happen is it's going to get used up in some way, either inside of your work or outside of your work. It's going to get used up. And the next level you can take if you want to, after this episode, is trying to figure out some kind of a decision delegation framework, right? You can start identifying these recurring decisions over and over again, like client requests and project scope questions and things like that. And you're going to start creating decision criteria for your team to use so that they can start finding out, they can start delegating, and you don't have to even spend all your time or a lot of your time delegating. What it does is going to empower others to filter those things so that you can focus on the strategic and they can focus on the tactical. Again, I want to remind you, you can find all my free resources, including the priority framework at dustinpeed.com/free. You can find out more about me and Chief Creative Consultants and how we can serve you and your creativity and your organization at dustinpeed.com, obviously. And then you can follow me on social media at dustinpeed, PEAD. Next week, we're going to talk about why your team might hate your new system that you just rolled out or you're about to roll out. We're going to talk about change management for creative teams because implementing systems is not easy. And we're going to get people to actually use them. Imagine that. That's the real work. I told you at the end of this episode, I was going to give you an opportunity to win this book. So just take one of the top 5 things that I mentioned here at the end of the episode, whether it be your focus funnel or weekly priority or your big 3 or your capacity check. Just tell me what you're going to do in the next week, in the next month, and over the next quarter, something that you took away from this episode that you're going to start implementing. And I want you to go to my YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube already, you're already there. If you're listening to this, thank you for listening. Hop over to the YouTube channel. You can just search Dustin Peed or Creativity Made Easy on YouTube, and you'll find this episode, and just comment on it. What are you going to take away from this episode? What are you going to start doing because of this episode? How did it impact you? If you comment on that, then I will run a random generator, and I will pick one of you, reach out to you, and mail you your very own copy of artwork by Sally Mann that just came out here recently towards the end of 2025. And so I'll do that over the next week. So when this comes out on Thursday, January 9th, we'll close it the following Thursday, which would be January 16th. Let's say we'll close it January 16th at midnight. Or let's just say January 16th at noon, because you never really know, is midnight the end of the day or of that date or the beginning of the next date. I know it's like a 12:01 situation. Let's just be super clear. January 16th at noon, we're going to close it off. So you have until January 16th, 2026 at noon. If you're watching this much later, I'm sorry you missed the giveaway. Hopefully there's more coming if you get caught up to live podcast episodes being released. But if you comment on this episode on the YouTube channel, tell me what takeaway you're taking from this episode today. I'll give you until January 16th, 2026 at noon to make that comment. And then I will random generator from those comments, and one person will win a copy of Sally Mann's book. And I will reach out to you for your details so I can send that book on your way. Thanks y'all so much for listening, for watching, for commenting, and for taking action in the new year. Let's get after it, folks. I cannot wait to grow with you this year. It's going to be our best year yet. I'll talk to you next week on Creativity Made Easy.